Alright guys, and welcome back to the Saints View, the channel for something content for our match preview ahead of Saturday's home game against Aston Villa. We need to make wrongs right after last weekend's horror show, and this is a pretty decent enough chance. However, it will be a very tough game, and anything other than a win is unacceptable, because I think then we might have to start talking about the relegation scrap once again, and we don't want to be dragged back into that. But before we get into the video, do make sure you are subscribed with your notification bell turned on. Follow us on all of our socials as well. We're gaining some decent following on Instagram, so keep following and supporting us. And yeah, let's get into the video. Now, as always, let's talk about Saints' last game, the absolute shambles that was the 2-1 defeat at home to Burnley last Saturday. Early kickoff, we got up early and it was just an awful day. The weather was, everything about it was just absolute rubbish. Started pretty well, I thought. I think all first half Saints, in fairness, were the better side. I know they went down 1-0 very early on, but that was a freak goal. I mean, it's Ings' mistake at the front post, yeah, that's fair enough. But, you know, I was quite pleased with the way we responded. We played our football, got an equaliser through a really good finish from Ings. He made amends for his mistake, for Burnley's goal. And I think when we went into the break at 1-1, I think it was the fair scoreline. I don't think either side created much in terms of chances following those two goals, but we definitely looked like we were playing the better football and were the more likely side to go and win it. However, Vydra comes off the bench earlier on in the first half for Chris Wood's injury and scores an absolute worldie. Really good finish from him. And, you know, even though we're going 2-1 down early on in that second half, we've still got 30-35 minutes to go and get the equaliser and then go and get the winner. But the response was absolutely disgusting, in my opinion. You know, I think that's a harsh word, but, you know, it was an awful performance. You know, looking like the football we were playing earlier on in the season, sideways and backwards passes when we want to go forward. You know, we weren't penetrating enough, we weren't looking lethal going forwards, because we can put together some really good stuff and tear defences open, but the press was just nowhere to be seen. And there are a few questionable decisions from Ralph, in my opinion, the main one being Vestergaard for Bednarek. You know, maybe he's had a bust up with Bednarek, but the excuse to say that Vestergaard is better when we've got possession of the ball than Bednarek is just a joke. You know, I love Ralph, but that, mate, honestly, there's something's happened behind the scenes, because I cannot believe that he genuinely thinks Vestergaard is better with the ball than Bednarek. Vestergaard had an absolute shocker. We need to see Bednarek back into the side on Saturday. And that's all I'm going to say about it. However, Jack Stevens, another really good performance. He is one of the few players who can hold his head up high after that game. Kyle Walker-Peters also made his debut and had a pretty good all-round debut. I think it was a pretty tough game to start it and try and make an impact in this side. But looked like he's not afraid going forwards. You know, jockeyed his man a little bit, I think, against those really rigid Burnley defenders, especially the fullbacks. It was a tough game for him, you know. But I think against Aston Villa, he'll get another opportunity, and we just want to see the same, you know. I just want to see crosses into the box and good defensive discipline to stay back when needed, and, you know, just be a decent fullback, because, you know, it seems like he's got the talent there, and I think he'll just get better. So I think he'll be a good player for us over the next few months. But arguably the worst news of the entire weekend was Nathan Redmond's injury, out for 1 to 2 months with a muscular injury. And that does worry me, to be honest with you. He's probably our second most efficient attacking player. Gets on my nerves sometimes. I think he gets on everyone's nerves, because we know how good he can be. Sometimes he makes the wrong pass or takes an extra touch when not needed, when it's not necessary. But at the end of the day, he's got exceptional talent when he turns it on, and he's going to be a real big miss for us. But it's a very good opportunity for Moussa Djenepo or Sofiane Boufal to step up and take that winger role for the next month or two, because we've got some winnable games, definitely games that they can be effective in. You know, Djenepo came on for Boufal, I thought had a really good first 20-30 minutes, unfortunate to get that injury, but when Djenepo came on, he did absolutely nothing. Now, you could argue that's because of Burnley's rigidness at the back. You know, getting past those fullbacks is quite a difficult task. You know, you're either going to run into a brick wall or tear them a new one. Unfortunately, it was the former for Djenepo, and he just didn't look efficient at all. Needs to change if he is to start against Aston Villa, because he can get in behind that defence and cause problems. We've seen it plenty of times this season, but we also know that he's still a young player and his decision making at times isn't great. Personally, I'd choose Boufal over him, but I'm not too sure what the situation is with Boufal at the moment. I'm filming this before Ralph Hasenhüttl's press conference, and the fact that Buffal walked off injured doesn't give me too much confidence that he's going to be ready for this one. But what sort of annoyed me the most is the fact that we just didn't look like we wanted it. We've got a really good opportunity to finish in the top half this season. We've got a winnable run of fixtures coming up that actually we're already in, not even coming up, we're in it. Burnley was the start of it, and this is another winnable game. But we have to be playing the football that we've seen over the last 2 months if we are to do it. Burnley, we just forgot our ideas and went back to panic mode. And we've played some really good stuff lately, albeit most of it has been away from home. But in the Tottenham draw in the cup, we played excellent. Even when we beat them in the league, we were excellent. First 60 minutes against Wolves at home, we were excellent. We just need to address that home form. It's now the worst in the entire league. It's an absolute shambles, because the chasm, and that is, that's the scale of how big the gap is. It's a chasm now between our home and our away form. I've never seen anything like it as a neutral in football, let alone a Saints fan. We really need to address it. And a win on Saturday would be the best way to sort of get fans back on side, because now it's been 4 defeats in the last 6 in all competitions. Maybe a few groans starting to emerge. Performances haven't been that bad. I think Burnley was the first real shocker for a good while, but like I said, need to be getting results at home. And as I've already said a few times already in the video, this is a winnable game. With all respect to Aston Villa, I do think we can beat them comfortably if we show up, and they don't. And I also see it as a decent opportunity to sort of bounce back after that Burnley defeat. We've got a very good record against Aston Villa over the last couple of games in which we've played them. I know, obviously, when they were last in the Premier League, they were a relegation side when we were fighting for Europe. But I still feel like we've got a decent chance in this one. We went to their place just before Christmas and absolutely battered them. And at that point, we were level on points, and they were actually above us on goal difference. Now we find ourselves 6 points ahead of them. Now that just shows how much better we've been recently than they have. And we just need to show that we are the better side, because Aston Villa will be up for it. They need it. They need the points. They're in that relegation battle. And if we don't win on Saturday, we could be dragging ourselves back into it. But let's talk about our opponents. Aston Villa come to St Mary's in better form, gave Spurs a really good run for their money last weekend, in my opinion. Watched that game, very unlucky to lose it last minute. I mean, Spurs had chances, but they did as well. I think going forwards, that especially that first sort of 20 minutes of the first half, they were absolutely exceptional going forwards. Did look shaky at the back. Arguably that's because they didn't have Mings in there. But yeah, if they play like that against us, I think we're going to have a problem. They also beat Leicester to go through to the League Cup final. I think 2 really impressive displays there, defensively sort of resolute and got the goals they needed. However, they did lose recently away at Bournemouth, which is a really poor result. I think Bournemouth were in the relegation zone at that point. Bournemouth on a little bit of an upturn in form, but that was a game really Aston Villa should be taking a point from at least. But like I've already said, they were woeful when we went to their place just before Christmas. I'm very interested to see what sort of Aston Villa turns up at St Mary's on Saturday, because really they're known for their home form, and the fact that they didn't show up at home gives me the impression that potentially they won't even show up in this away game. But like I've also said, our home form is shambolic, so maybe it might just be 2 even sides and we play out a draw, who knows. But I think if Grealish is in top form as he usually is and we can't keep him quiet, we may have a real problem. I think Samatta could be a good signing for them, looked decent against Tottenham, got a goal against Bournemouth the other week. So we have got our hands full. And naturally they will smell blood after our result last weekend and our performance. They'll fancy themselves to be able to get a result if we show up in the same manner that we did against Burnley. They need this result, so we really need to be on our top form on Saturday. But of course I'm no expert on Aston Villa, so I've asked Max from Villa on Tour once again to come onto the channel and give us some insight on Aston Villa's recent endeavours. Max, mate, take it away.
Right, hello everyone, Max here from Villa on Tour. Obviously I'm a Villa fan. Dan has asked me to answer a few questions ahead of the game on Saturday, Southampton away. What have you made of Villa's performances in the new year? Now, overall, I think we've been okay. We started the year off with a decent away win at Burnley, even though our away form throughout the whole of the season has been pretty poor. Apart from that, we got to Wembley, obviously beating Leicester in the semi-finals, which was absolutely massive for the club, going back to a major cup final at Wembley, so that'll be class at the start of March when we go to Wembley against City. Will we win? Probably not, but we don't mind. Again, we lost in the league 6-1 to Man City, so it hasn't been great. We've had a few other decent results, but lately we're just a bit inconsistent. That's the problem. You never know which Villa's going to turn up. Who are the key men besides from Jack Grealish, if you want the talent that Grealish has got, he's absolutely a joy to watch, and I'm absolutely blessed that I get to watch him every single week. Apart from that, you'd probably say Tyrone Mings at the back. He's a colossus for us. Yes, we've got the worst defence in the Premier League, but if we didn't have him, it would be so much worse. He had tonsillitis against Tottenham, that's why he didn't play, so he'll probably be back for the Southampton game. So I'd say watch out for Tyrone Mings. What have you made of Southampton since the game at Villa Park? Obviously, where you beat us 3-1. Yeah, not great that day. We were absolutely dreadful. You lot were decent, and from that point forward, you've gone on and won a lot of very big games. Chelsea away, you look at that one. I know your home form isn't brilliant, the worst in the league, so that gives me a little bit of hope. But apart from that, you've gone from a relegation battle to even close to Europe. I know you've fallen off in the last 3 games where you've lost the last 3, but fair play. You've pretty much solidified yourself in the table, and I don't think you're going down. I don't think there's any doubt about that. How are you feeling then for the game? I don't know. The fact that Southampton at home are really poor does give me confidence, but then again, we ourselves are poor. Our defence is really bad. Your defence isn't brilliant. So I fancy a goal fest. We really do need to win, but Southampton will be thinking the same. So I'll say 2-2. Grealish to score, as he always does. But we really do need this win. I think 3,500 Villa fans will be bang up for it. The players will, after the winter break, they'll have that rest after the Tottenham game, losing the last minute. Not ideal, but if we can win this game, it'll be massive. A point is okay, but we haven't got that many winnable games, so it's going to be tough. A point maybe, but I think we've got to be going for the win. So I'll say 2-2. Grealish to score. Thanks for having me on the channel, though. I'll see you probably on Saturday for the game up the Villa.
Thanks for doing that, mate. Of course, I will leave his link in the description below. Really good vlogs if you enjoy that sort of thing. But on to my prediction now. Now, before Burnley, I was confident for both games. I said, I think 2-0 for Burnley, and I was thinking like a 3-1 for Aston Villa. I'm not going to be that confident this time around. I do think we'll win narrowly. I think we need to show up. I think we need a reaction as well. Saturday was just not good enough at all, and we really need to show the fans that we have intent to do well this season. We don't want to be just mid-table obscurity. We want to go and finish in that top half, get a really strong finish and build on that into the summer, and then have a really good season next year if Ralph stays. I'm going to go for 2-1. I think Villa will score. I don't have enough confidence in the defence at the moment to keep a clean sheet, especially at home. But I think the fact that we've got Ings in there will help, and I'd really like to see a Boufal or Gineppo goal based on who starts instead of Redmond. They need to make an impact. But thank you very much for watching the video, guys. Do leave it a like if you have enjoyed it, and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Follow us on all of our socials as well. Let me know your score prediction and how you're feeling ahead of the game in the comment section below, and we'll see you tomorrow for our predicted lineup. See you then, guys.